Hi, I'm Francis Horton, CEO of Community Assistance Center, and I'm here today at the birthplace of CAC. Let's go in and take a look. In the late 1980s, congregations in the Sandy Springs and Dunwoody area realized the needs of neighbors around them. 5 of those congregations came together in united action to meet those needs. In 1987, volunteers began to distribute clothes and food from this very spot, and thus CAC was born, and it grew. It grew from this very room, 400 square feet, to 4 operating sites today. That group of 5 congregations has grown to a remarkable 28 faith-based partners. Many of you have walked along the way with CAC, and we thank you very much for that. And today, we're going to visit all 4 of those operating sites. Along the way, we'll get a glimpse of what we were able to do in 2021. It continues to be a partnership between us and our donors, our volunteers, our faith-based partners, you. Come and join me on our little trip around CAC. Let's head to Dunwoody. We opened this Dunwoody location in January 2020. Yeah, a couple of months later, the pandemic hit us pretty hard. However, last year, we were able to reopen fully. Our numbers of visitors here are going up. It means we're meeting needs of our neighbors here in Dunwoody. And speaking of Dunwoody, Ann Hicks, the chair of our board, is actually a resident of Dunwoody, and she's here today. Hey, Ann. Whoa, great shirt.
It's our team colors. I have to wear red.
Thanks for being a team player. Hey, could you tell us a little bit about the challenges that the pandemic brought to CAC?
I sure will. The past couple of years have been challenging for all of us. And CAC was able to work through all those challenges. And in May of 2021, we were able to fully reopen all of our services, including our fully renovated South Sandy Springs satellite. Right now, we'll take a tour of CAC's facilities. And along the way, we'll get a glimpse of our impact in 2021. We also want to look ahead a bit at what's coming down the road. If you'd like additional information, we'll provide an email at the end of this video where you can make additional requests. In 2021, I was amazed and inspired by the way our community came together to meet the needs of those who were hit the hardest by the COVID crisis. CAC has helped our neighbors keep a roof over their heads and food on the table. We could not have done any of it without you. I want to thank each of you on behalf of the Board of Directors, staff, and clients for your kindness and generosity to help our neighbors through the work of CAC, and for your generous gifts to help us respond to the increasing need. Francis, where do we go next?
You're staying here. I'm going to Hightower. And now we're at 1130 Hightower, where we have our administrative offices. We do adult education and financial interviews. And we've just kicked off our new career center. We're trying to help clients move toward financial stability. And speaking of financial stability, we've got Owen Dwoskin here today, who is our board treasurer. He's going to help give us a picture of our organizational financial health. How you doing, Owen?
Good, Francis. Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
All to you, man.
Thanks. Welcome, everybody. I'm here to go over the finances from 2021. And I'll let you know that the CAC is in great financial health, as you can see from the financial information that I'm about to present. The first thing we'll look at is our financial position. In other words, the balance sheet and where we stand on our assets, liabilities, and net assets. You can see we're in a very good position starting 2022. At the end of 2021, we had $5.6 million in total assets, which is up from where we were in 2020 of $5.3 million. In addition, our total liabilities went down in 2021 from $1.1 million at the end of 2020 to $500,000 at the end of 2021. That decrease, a big part of that was due to the pay down of our mortgage debt. We paid down $400,000 of debt at the end of 2021. That leaves us with net assets of $5.1 million at the end of 21, which is up from $4.2 million at the end of 2020. Now we'll talk about the statement of activities, and let's look at our revenues and income generating activities for the year. In 2021, contributions and fundraising was $3.1 million, which is around the same as it was in 2020, which was $3.2 million. Now we did that, if you remember, 2020 was a huge year for COVID, and we got a lot of donations in that year. But in 2021, although we didn't get as much donations from the COVID-related contributions, we did have a capital campaign. So that was what kept our contributions and fundraising at around the same level as it was in 2020. In grants were down because, again, in 2020 we had a huge amount of grants due to COVID, where the government was helping us and assisting us in our efforts to support the people in need. We had $2.3 million in grants in 2020, whereas in 2021 we had $1 million. You can see Vintage Affair and Retail Income both brought in about $200,000 each, which gave us a total revenue and support of $4.7 million in 2021. Now, one part of that was we had $144,000 of PPP loan forgiveness. So if you recall, the Paycheck Protection Program loan, we got the money in 2020, but in 2021 we qualified and were forgiven that loan, which hits our net revenue in 2021. Last but not least, let's look at the statement of activities on the expense side and see where we spent our money during 2021. On the expense side, program expenses were down from 2021 to $3.2 million from $4.8 million in 2020. And again, that's because of the need from COVID. Management and general expenses, we were able to cut that as well. In 2020, we had $381,000 of management and general expenses, where in 2021 we had $165,000. And that leaves us with fundraising and development, which was $361,000 in 2021 compared to $150,000 in 2020. So total expenses in 2021 were $3.7 million, which leaves us a change in net assets, or an increase in net assets of $935,000 compared to $714,000 in 2020. Again, we made money, and we are a not-for-profit, but the big reason for that is because we got a lot of capital campaign contributions in 2021, which will be spent in 2022. And that's our financial report for 2021. As you can see, we're in a very healthy financial position and expect more of the same in 2022. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Francis.
Well, thank you, Owen. That's good news, man. Hey, you guys come with me. We'll go to the next site. I think many of you will recognize where we're headed at 8607 Roswell Road. We have a thrift store and a food pantry. Come on, let's go see it. Many of you participated in our capital campaign last year, and part of that campaign was repaving the parking lot of this facility, and it was in bad need of it, I can assure you. Part of our 2021 capital campaign was to improve our facilities at Hightower, and we did that by painting the building. It looks beautiful, and by getting new windows, we can actually see in and out of them now. You guys were all a part of that, and we appreciate it very much. Hey, speaking of thanking people, I know someone who loves to do that, and she happens to be here today. Pam Jones, our Director of Development. How you doing, Pam?
I'm great, Francis. How about you? You having fun on all these tours you're taking people on?
You know, we're having a great time traveling all around CAC. Pam's going to give us the scoop on development. Pam, it's yours.
Thanks, Francis. Well, I'm excited to be here in the thrift shop because it's an important part of CAC's mission and fundraising efforts. But first, I want to complete the conversation about the capital campaign. You've been seeing many of the implementations of the funding that we've spent on improvements, and Francis has one more to show you with the last stop that you're going to be really excited about. We raised over $1 million thanks to many of you who are here with us viewing our annual report, as well as private foundations, congregations, and other members of the community who knew it was important to invest in our facilities. So the thrift shop's incredibly important to our programs. Your donated goods provide everything that you're seeing today, including the furniture, the household items, the clothing for kids, parents and work, and everything that they do. And it generates more than $200,000 of revenue from public sales and helps more than 2,000 individuals here every year. So thank you so much for your donations to support this amazing, very cool thrift shop. In addition to the thrift shop, the food pantry's here, one of our largest, and there are also donated goods that are incredibly important to that mission. We distributed over 500,000 pounds of food last year to families in need, and that would not have been possible without those community donations. And last but not least are our amazing volunteers. We have more than 300 dedicated individuals that give us time every week to run all of the programs in CAC. And so I'd love for us to just thank all of the work they do. They contribute more than $800,000 a year in donated labor, which is huge when you look at the funding that we received and the multiplications of services we can provide with all of those donated goods and volunteer hours. So if you're ever in one of our facilities and you see these amazing dedicated volunteers, please shake their hand and say thank you. They are the heart and soul of CAC. Now I'm going to let you go in a few minutes with Francis to see this amazing South Sandy Springs branch that's brand new, thanks to so much of your support. But before I do, I want you to save the date for Vintage Affair 2022. We're going to have an Oktoberfest celebration back in person at Mercedes-Benz on October 22nd. Tickets go on sale in July, and if any of you still are interested in sponsoring or being a host, let us know. Thank you so much for your amazing support in 2021, and this year is shaping up to be as good as ever. So thank you for your amazing support in 2021. I'm going to turn it back over to Francis now because he is excited to show you our newest branch in South Sandy Springs. Francis?
Hey, I told you she liked to thank people. Thanks for that report, Pam. Great stuff going on here at CAC. We got one more stop. Come on, let's go. We started the build out of the South Sandy Spring branch in the last quarter of 2021. We moved in here this past April to come back to serving this part of our community. In fact, anytime I travel about and I talk to donors, faith-based partners, businesses, or volunteers, and I hear compliments about our work, the way we do things and the compassion with which we do it, I'm always very proud of our staff, the competency of their work, and the integrity with which they do it. They are the ones that make this work. They're second to none. In 2021, we were able to help 5,948 people. That's 2,299 households. Now, these are unduplicated people, and that means that even though mom comes to the food pantry multiple times during a year, she's only counted as a client once. 29% of those households were single-headed households. More than 2,200 of those people were children. CAC impacts the lives of families both large and small. We couldn't do any of it without the amazing support of a community that cares enough to make a difference. One of the ways we help families is with rent and utilities. In 2021, that amounted to a little over $1.1 million in assistance. And that money allowed 996 families to stay in their homes. These families would not have received help if not for our partners. CAC received significant funding from both city and county governments. Additionally, many private foundations, as well as thousands of donors, stepped up to also provide funding for rent assistance, food, and more. We can't say thank you enough to you guys. We know that when families are going through hard times, often food is the first expense to be cut. We work very hard to enable families to keep food on the table, and our client choice markets served 3,156 people with 517,000 pounds of food in 2021. Hey, did you know the secret? The best kept secret in the metro Atlanta area? That's our upscale thrift store. In 2021, we expanded our hours to give more people opportunity to learn that secret. Almost every month, it set records for sales. Every dollar that comes into the thrift store goes directly into our programming to help our neighbors. As more people shop, more people get help. Many of the families that get help through the Thrift Center include children. In fact, 2,288 children were helped through our programming in 2021. As all parents know, children need extra stuff every now and then, here and there, school supplies, winter clothes, and of course, Christmas presents. This can add significant pressure to already tight budgets. Last year, CAC made sure that 905 children started the school year with backpacks full of school supplies. Many of our community children rely on breakfast and lunch at school. When school is out, they're out of luck getting lunch. 562 of those children received lunches in our summer lunch program last year. 450 coats were given out to children to prepare them for the winter. I've got 4 children and 8 grandchildren, and I just believe that kids ought to have an opportunity to be kids, especially at Christmas. Through our Adoptive Family Program and your help, 1,490 children were adopted last Christmas, and they all got toys for Christmas. It's absolutely imperative that we enable our children to learn as they grow up. But you know what? Adults can learn too. Last year we had 248 adults enrolled in a variety of courses over 2 semesters. Out of that, 184 students were able to complete English courses. Whew. A lot happened in 2021. All great stuff. We moved into new space. We've made renovations on our old space as well. We're continually improving what we provide clients and how we provide that. And we're flying into 2022 already. It's shaping up to be a great year. Our Career Center is off to an incredible start, helping people polish their resumes, improve their interview skills, get connected with skills development programs, and be referred to jobs. We're also seeing our clients change. What used to be COVID crisis help, we're now giving economy crisis help. The same person with the same job, driving the same car, living in the same apartment, shopping at the same grocery store with their kids in the same school, can no longer make ends meet on that income. They need a boost. Visits to our food pantry are up 50% over the same time last year. The need is still there, and we still need your partnership to meet them. Well, we've been around CAC today. We've stopped at all of our operational sites, and you've seen and heard some of the things that we were able to do during 2021. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a great trip for me to walk back through and see what our staff has been able to do, and I hope it's been the same for you. Many of you have been able to meet along the way, and we've chatted and we've had a nice time together. Some of you I haven't. I look forward to meeting you in the very near future. Hey, stop by and see me. I'm in the corner office at 1130 Hightower. We'll put a pot of coffee on. A great big shout out to our staff. What an incredible staff, second to none. They're the ones that make this thing work. Thanks guys for all you do and for the integrity with which you do it. Great big shout out to Mason Wood who helped us put this video together. Thank you, Mason. You the man. Thanks so much for joining us for our annual meeting today. I hope it was informative to you, and I'll see you soon.